Alright, so for this video, you're going to learn how to write your formulas for your ionic compounds. So the first thing you need to do, you need a periodic table with the oxidation numbers on it. So in case you've forgotten, we're going to go over this one more time. Everybody in group 1 is going to have a +1 charge. Group 2 is going to be a +2. Skip these guys in the middle, and we'll go to group 13. Remember, these are a +3. We're going to skip group 14. Group 15, -3, 16, -2, 17, -1, and then group 18 we're not going to worry about. Alright, so here's some examples here. The first one we want to start with is lithium. So remember, lithium is going to have 1 valence electron, and our oxygen is going to have 6. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons. Okay? And so we're going to take one of these over here, and then we need another lithium, then 1 electron, and we're going to have it there. So remember, we get Li. We have 2 of these, and they have a 1+ charge, and we have oxygen, and we have just 1 of those. And because it gained 2 electrons, remember, it's going to have 2 minus charge, so it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons. Okay? And so what we end up with is a formula that looks like Li2O. Now, there's got to be a simpler way to do this. Well, the good news is there is. So, if I write my lithium, and I'm going to write the oxidation state. So I'm going to say this is a 1+, okay? And then I'm going to write my oxygen, and we're going to say oxygen is a 2-, okay? So those are the numbers that we said the oxidation states above the groups. Now, I'm going to take this 1, and I'm going to cross it down there, and I'm going to take this 2, and I'm going to cross it there. And when I do that, I get the formula Li2O, which is the same thing as what we showed right here. So for calcium, we're going to do the same thing. So if I want to add calcium and sulfur together, I'm going to say my calcium, and it's a 2+, and then to this I'm going to add my sulfur, which is a 2-. I'm going to take this 2 and cross it, and I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to cross it, so that what I would end up with is Ca2S2. Anytime you get the same numbers, we're just going to go ahead and cancel those out, so that what we end up with is CaS. Okay? And then for the last example here, we have Al, and its oxidation state is a 3+. And then we have our fluorine, and we know that its oxidation state is a 1-. And so I'm going to take my 1 and I'm going to cross it. And I'm going to take my 3, I'm going to cross it, so that what I end up with is Al1F3, but we can ignore this little 1 right down here, because if there's an Al there, then obviously we don't need the 1. So that the way you would write this formula is then AlF3. Okay? And so what we've just done here is what we call the crisscross rule. So this is our crisscross rule, okay? And so you can apply this, and this is only for your ionic compounds. This is going to be how you're going to write your formulas for those, okay? Alright, so now the question is, how do we name them? Well, we took, in that last example, we took something like we said, we had lithium, right? And we added to it oxygen, and we said our formula was Li2O, okay? And so always what you're going to do for the first one, this is always a metal, because again we're talking about ionic compounds, and we said that ionic compounds, we have a metal plus a non-metal, okay? So we're going to just write down the name for the first one. So this is lithium, okay? Just write it exactly as it appears on the periodic table. So you're going to write the name of the metal as it appears on the periodic table, okay? Now, the next one, okay, And we don't worry about this 2 right here, okay? And the reason we don't worry about this 2 is because that came from our crisscross rule, and so when we'll go over this in just a second, but you don't worry about that 2. Now, when it comes to our second one, this is our nonmetal, okay? You're going to write the name. So write the name, drop the ending. So we're going to drop the ending and add IDE. So you're always going to add IDE. So in this case, it's going to be lithium instead of oxygen. So this is oxygen, right? We're going to drop this ending and call it oxide. Okay. So for many of you, you know that a lot of the a lot of your fluorine, chlorine, all of these, they end in INE. That's because they're on the periodic table. When you see something that ends in IDE, this equals an ion, and you guys know that ions have lost electrons or gained electrons. All right, so how do we go from a name to a formula? Well, let's say that we have something like strontium chloride. So we have strontium chloride. So remember that this IDE ending, that tells us that it's something that is an ion, because remember IDE, it used to be INE, but IDE means that it's an ion, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to find chlorine, because that's what it is. So Cl, and we know that the oxidation number for this is a 1-, okay? Then we're going to go to our periodic table, and we're going to find strontium. It's in group 2, towards the bottom. So this is going to be Sr, and its oxidation number, since it's in group 2, is a +2, right? So then now the only thing we need to do is we need to take this and cross it here. We take this and cross it there, and we would have SrCl2. All right, so I'm going to do 2 practice problems with you before I send you out on your own to do this. And if you have any questions, go back and look over at your notes, okay? So let's go over, let's say that we have this compound here. Let's go with Al2, and then this will be S3. Okay, so remember, we see something like this. The first thing we want to do, we go for the first one, and we're just going to write down aluminum. Okay, this second one here, we know that this is sulfur, but we want to change the ending to IDE, so this would just be aluminum sulfide. Okay, now if I'm given something like calcium, that's a U there, and this is, let's go with calcium phosphide. Remember, the ID ending tells me that we've got an ion, okay? So I know that I'm going to look on my periodic table, because IDE tells me it's something that came from the periodic table. And we know that calcium is in group 2. So this is going to be Ca, and I need to write a 2+ here, okay? And then if I have something like phosphide, then I need to go, this is going to be phosphorus, so we're going to write a P. And then phosphorus is in group 15, so it's going to be a 3-. So now I need to take this one and cross it here, and I need to take this one and cross it there, and so that what I end up with is Ca3P2. And so that's how you're going to find your formulas if you are given a name.